Okay, so we've come to the end of the year. It's December, it's holiday season, and you're probably on your way to go on vacation. But just before you do that, I want to ask you a question. You've obviously decided on a destination that you want to go to. Have you planned your route there? Did you decide where you want to make some stops? Are you stopping over on a long trip before you reach your destination? These are the kind of questions you obviously ask yourself. Well, most people do. Some people just get in the car and go. I tend to do that sometimes. But if you take a journey, you want to know what your destination is, where do you want to get to, and you obviously know where you're starting from. So where you are right now to where you want to get to, there's a journey to take. And there's some planning required, especially if it's a 16-hour drive or something like that. So, have you planned your finances for 2021? Finances, planning your finances is very much the same as taking a journey, a long journey. I'm Weide-Market, and in this video I'm going to be taking you through a couple of pointers on goals to set for your financial plan for 2021. And we are going to compare it to taking a long trip for a vacation holiday. So stick around to the end of the video. We're going to be breaking out the goals into three. So a long-term goal, a mid-term goal, and a short-term goal. So let's talk a little bit about the destination. For many people, taking a long trip for a holiday is something that they plan a year ahead. They make a booking to ensure that they get there and they have a place to stay. For you to take the journey or take the first step towards some future goal or some future dream or some future destination for your finances, you need to have a clear picture in your mind as to what that looks like, what that smells like, what that would feel like emotionally, so that you have a clear picture of where it is that you want to go in your mind. It's already set. If you want, you could put up a board with some visual reminders of what that dream would look like, what that destination would look like, and that makes it clear in your mind and in your feelings and in your thoughts of what that destination looks like. And once you've determined that, then you can take the next step. The next step would be to determine where you are right now. This means going through your finances and giving each rand, cent or dollar or whatever currency you work in, and give each one a name. So as with a journey that you take for your vacation, determining where you are right now gives you a feel for the distance that you have to go. In terms of a vacation journey, the distance you have to go from where you are to where you want to get to. In terms of your finances, it means where am I right now and what can I afford to do with my finances that are available to me right now. So once you've determined on the one hand your destination and on the other hand your starting position or your starting point, then you need to decide what vehicle do I need to get from point A to point B, what does the terrain look like in between, and how long will it take me to get there. Now, we're talking about the financial plan for 2021, and the goals you set, you may not reach all of those goals in 2021, depending on how big your dream is and depending on where your starting point is. But you have to decide on a vehicle that will get you from point A to point B. If you're currently employed or you're a business owner or a business operator, you have some kind of primary income, and you may or may not have already started developing extra incomes outside of your primary income. The bottom line is your primary income combined with whatever other income you have are the vehicle or vehicles that you can use and should be using to get yourself from your starting financial position to where your destination financial position will be. So in this video, I'm going to be starting on the long-term goal and then work down back from long-term, mid-term to short-term, because we know what our destination is, we know where we want to get to, and we need to break it down into smaller steps back into where we are right now. So that brings me to the first goal. It is a long-term goal and I call it the financial independence goal. In another video, I talk about financial independence versus financial freedom, and I'll leave a link in the top of my, just above my head here, or in the description below. And I talk about the difference between the two concepts and how they almost grow together. So part of the journey is preparing yourself and preparing others that might be taking the journey with you. For me, the starting point for working towards the long-term goal of financial independence is being able to create multiple streams of income. So outside of your primary income, whether you're an employee or a business owner operator, you need to have extra income outside of that. And your primary income is your most important tool in generating extra income. So the first thing you need for financial independence, or working towards financial independence, is to obviously have a primary income. If you're not currently working, if you don't currently have a primary income, I hope you find something soon. I hope you start a business, or you have some other funds to keep you going in the meantime. The second thing is, if you have a business, you have a primary income, you have an established income, you work for a company, the second thing you need to do to work towards financial independence is to start training someone to take over from you. Take over your responsibilities, take over, just to take over from you. Because if you get to a point where you want to take the next step, but there's no one to take over from you, or someone you can hand over to, then you can't really make that next step. So it is important to identify, train, and educate someone that would be able to take over from you once you make the next step. The third thing is that you obviously need to prepare yourself for taking the next step. You have to enable yourself through training and education, through learning, through experience, to be able to get to that point where you can take the next step. So it's a combination, once again, of enabling yourself as well as enabling someone else to be able to take over from you. So let's move on to the second goal. Goal 2 is a midterm goal, and this is financial freedom. Financial freedom can be achieved at any income level, as long as you, number one, spend less than you earn, pay off your debt, start saving to invest, and have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months. These 4 points that I mentioned should be your goals for 2021, your midterm goals for 2021. Spend less than you earn and do this consistently. Pay off all your consumer debt, except for the home or home mortgage that you have. Start saving to invest or generate extra income. And increase your emergency fund to be able to cover 3 to 6 months of your living expenses in case something happens. Goal number 3 is to take control. And this is a short-term goal, and you should be doing this right from the 1st of January. Take control of your finances. This involves consistently doing your monthly budget. Now, a budget is a tool to tell your money where to go. It's not a tool just to track expenses as it comes in. In another video about budgeting, link above my head and in the description below, I talk about how to structure your business. How to structure your budget. You should be spending 25% or less of all your income on your home or living arrangements. You should be spending 10% or less of your income on transport and or your car. You should be spending at least 10% or more on your retirement savings. So now we're sitting at 45%. You should not be spending more than another 10 to 15% on your day-to-day living expenses. Let's work on 10%. That's put us at 55% of your total income at the moment. This is after taxes income, of course. That leaves you with 45% of your income. Now, obviously, at this stage, you might not be at that place where you can break your income up into these portions, but that is really the ideal that you should be aiming for. And then you've got 35% to do investments with, or grow other incomes and pay off debt. So if you have debt, use that 35% to snowball your debt from small to big as quickly as possible. So once you pay off one small debt, you use that money that you used to spend on that debt and put that into the next biggest debt, or the next debt on your list. And then you snowball your debt until you've paid all of that off. You want to do that as quickly as possible because interest eats up your future income. The last 10% of your income you should be using to better someone else's life without expecting something back. Whether you give that to a charity, give it to your church, but that 10% is something you give out of gratitude for the income that you have, for the position that you are in. Then another short-term goal, if you haven't done so yet, you need to start an emergency fund. Whether it's 1,000 Rand or 500 Rand, not that that'll do much for you when there's an emergency that comes up, but you need to put money aside for an emergency. Money you don't touch unless it is absolutely necessary. It is recommended that you build that emergency fund initially as quickly as possible to 10,000 Rand or $1,000. $1,000 is more like 16,000 Rand, but I think if you have a 10,000 Rand emergency fund to begin with, that is a good starting point for your emergency fund. Like I said earlier, in your midterm goal, you want to be able to build that emergency fund up so that it'll cover 3 to 6 months living expenses. This brings me to the end of the video. If you're not on holiday yet, I hope you get a chance to go on holiday. Take a break. 2020 has been a year of challenges and growth, as well as disappointments and heartache. Take a break, rest well, come back in the new year with a plan, with a goal set, and go after it. There's no guarantee that 2021 will be any better than 2020, but at least if you have a plan, you can work towards something. Persevere through the troubles. It will get better, and the perseverance builds character, and the character will give you the hope for things that are coming that will be better and greater than what you've imagined them to be. Thank you for watching. My name is Weide-Market. Please subscribe. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video in 2021. God bless. Cheers.